to Gapper, and they're going to tie it. And now Bruce on his way to second. He's got a double, 4-4.
And there's a base hit. To Cleveland.
Base hit, Reds win. They get 3 in the bottom of the 13th. An absolute heartbreaker for the Cubs.
And this should do it. This ball game is over. So we find another way to beat ourselves.
Hawkaroo describing baseball on both sides of town so far this season. Take a look at the offensive numbers. Not good. Both teams in last place in their respective divisions, having won a combined 12 games. Team stats just horrendous. Neither team ranks higher than 24th in average, runs, hits, on-base percentage, and walks. In fact, Cubs and Sox are two of the 3 worst teams when it comes to working free passes. Okay, I stayed up. I'm a fan. I watched the game late last night. I saw the Sox game before that. Flipping around, I'm watching hockey. I'm watching. It's a great sports night in our town. And wow, both baseball teams look awful.
Yeah, I mean, the White Sox, to me, it's a bad start, but we saw them start poorly last year, and they were able to turn it around. They have some hope. The Cubs, on the other hand,
no hope.
I mean, my God.
None.
The defense has been absolutely atrocious so far this year. I mean, the fundamentals, what you've seen night in and night out, the errors, the mental mistakes. I mean, even in last night's game, in the 13th inning, when Dave Chappelle tries to dive after that ball that was hit to right field.
One of the more ridiculous plays I've seen. What are you thinking? The rule of thumb is if you can't make the catch for sure in that situation, you just playing on a hop and you hold him to first.
Right. I mean, and we've seen this now, and I actually thought Michael Bowden made some good pitches in that inning last night, but again, the defense doesn't help him out. And what you've seen so far this year, guys, is just, you know, on both sides of town, just head scratchers with the fact that nobody's taking walks, as you just showed in that graphic. Nobody's playing well offensively, but to me, at least from the Cubs side of it, the errors and the fundamental mistakes have been extremely frustrating.
It has been. I mean, we all expected the Cubs to be bad, 65, 70 win team at best, but what's been really bothersome is the way they're losing is they're just stupid.
Well, what page in the Cubs way book that you can get in your Kindle does it say don't walk?
I don't know. Or we're to throw to the wrong base, or when you're trying to pick somebody off to throw into center field.
Or don't hit behind a base run.
It is fundamentally, they are horrible. And the Sox are too, and I guess they're the team that was expected to be better, so that's a little bit more bothersome. But the Cubs is just, and I watched, like you, Cap, 4.5 hours last night, and when it was done, I said, what did I just do?
Brutal.
What am I doing here?
I don't even know how you sat through and watched all of that. I mean, bad teams find bad ways to lose, and it just continues to snowball, and this is what you have. There's no hope. You're stretching to find positives now.
And having the Cubs, I think I saw the stat that they have 10 quality starts so far, and they're 5-13.
Fifth going into last night, and they got another great start. 5th in starters ERA.
Right, so what happens when the starters start to pitch poorly? I mean, listen, I think Jeff Samardzija, I think, is going to be good all season long. Travis Woods had a great start. What happens when those guys go through a rough patch?
You probably will hit a little better. Over the weekend, Dale Swaim sounded like he was playing general manager, threatening players with demotion, including the names that were bandied about, Castro and Rizzo. Yesterday afternoon, he said he wasn't picking on anyone in particular, but everyone is on notice in the dugout, including Dale.
We all are in this together as a team, and we, as coaches, managers, we try and get people better in any manner we can. Yeah, I'd be lying if you didn't think about yourself through some of this stuff too. But you know, that's stuff you don't have control over. You don't have control over. I got control over my job and my coaching staff to prepare everybody every day in spring training and this and that, and that's all I can do.
Okay. When does it blow back on the manager?
It's a beaten man right there, by the way.
Yeah. I don't think
year 2 now of his run. It's got at least one more year. He's got nothing to work with.
Right. I mean, I don't know how you can really blame Dale for this. I mean, I think that he's a guy that when you listen to him talk every day, he always talks about the importance of fundamentals and the type of baseball that they'd like to play. He hasn't been dealt a team that can compete. And the fact is, you're seeing this every day. That's concerning, that the fundamental problems are not going away. but I don't feel like you can really evaluate Dale Swaim as a manager to this point. I'd like to see what it would be like if Dale Swaim was managing in games that mattered.
So you don't blame any of the fundamental issues on the manager or the coaching staff?
See, I do.
Yes, he has to get some of the blame for that. Yes, I agree. This is a terrible team. There isn't a manager in the world who can make them a winning team. But at least fundamentally, they need to be better. And that, to me, goes to the manager. Players first, but managers
When Starlin Castro comes up on Sunday and the leadoff guy is DeJesus, he reaches on a two-base error. And it's a 3-pitch at bat. He strikes out, gives no thought whatsoever, trying to hit behind the runner to move him over to third, where then another grounder gets you a cheap run. At some point, when is the conversation going to be had that stuff cannot continue?
But why is it happening with Castro still? He has now played in 463 Major League games. I understand he's 23 years old, but he is not baseball young.
But it's Dale Swaim's Dale Swaim's job to get to that. Get to him on that.
I do think that Dale Swaim deserves some blame for it, but my point is that Starlin Castro, at some point, these players have to be accountable for their own mistakes, and maybe the organization needs to consider changing position for Starlin Castro at some point. Maybe he needs to take a seat on the bench a couple of days and really talk to Dale Swaim about what needs to change. But to me, some of these mistakes that they're making, you can blame Dale Swaim if you want. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve some blame, but a lot of this stuff are things that we've been seeing for a long time. This isn't a new problem under Dale Swaim. And at some point, you have to wonder if the players themselves need to take a look in the mirror and say, we can't keep doing this stuff.
Yeah, but we said that when Hendry was here, when Quaddy was here, when Lou was here.
Right.
Same old, same old. And what was advertised, and I think Theo and Jed would tell you this, we promised we'd bring a better fundamental approach. We haven't seen it yet.
And presumably Dale Swaim was hired because he's good at working with young players. They knew this was a transition phase for the franchise. You had to have a manager who can teach the fundamentals, and he hasn't been able to do it. I think sitting Starlin Castro for a day or two is great. Why hasn't Dale Swaim done it? He threatened it a few times last year, and the minors thing isn't happening. Dale Swaim will be fired way before Castro
that will never happen.
No, but why not bench him for a day or two? Last year, there were at least 2 times where Dale Swaim considered benching him but didn't do it.
You don't think he's got to get the okay from above?
Quaddy benched him for a day, I think.
Well, see, I think that your point, Ben, is right in that, if Dale is going to make the threat of saying, well, maybe we'll send him down or maybe we need to do, then do something, right? I mean, if you're going to say that you think that something needs to change, you're the manager, then sit him down for a few days.
All right. Don't forget the White Sox game that you were hoping to see tonight has been postponed due to the inclement weather in Chicago. No makeup date yet announced. They will have a matinee to close out that series. The Indians tomorrow. Blackhawks on cruise control heading into the playoffs, and it looked like it last night in Vancouver. They lose 3-1. Q calls it the worst game of the season. Cause for concern for just a meaningless, boring regular season game with nothing to play for. And Q wasn't the only Hawk unhappy after the game. Duncan Keith wasn't pleased with the game or a female reporter's question. Was his response sexist or just rude? First, time for today's Facebook poll question. Most surprising thing from last night was A, Bulls beating the Nets, B, Blackhawks laying an egg to the hated Canucks, C, the Cubs going to extras with the Reds, D, the White Sox bullpen blowing a lead to the Indians. Log on to Facebook, CSN Chicago page is your spot. Latest results will be updated throughout our program.